Hi there, I'm Jamie and I'm going to show you 4 essential chords that every beginning guitarist should know. I'll show you a strum pattern that goes with it, and I'll show you several songs that go with all of those chords in the strum pattern. I'm going to show you a G chord, C, D, and E minor. The strum pattern I'm going to show you is down, down, up, down, down, up. And then I'll show you several songs where you can put all of that together. If you want to continue with lessons and take private lessons with me, contact me at this address and we can talk about Skype lessons. I also teach in my home studio in Ottawa, Ontario, and I travel for workshops. So let's get started with some lessons, and don't worry, each lesson will focus on one little small part of what I just showed you, and it'll also include close-ups of my hands and chord diagrams so you can better see what I'm doing. All right, let's get started. Okay, let's get started playing some chords. First, some basic terminology. When I say first fret, I'm talking about the space between this piece right here, which is called the nut, and this piece right here, which is called the fret or the fret bar. But this whole space is known as the fret. Here's the second fret, this whole space here, third fret. I'm going to refer to the strings by a numbering system, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or simply tell you if it's the bottom string or the second string from the bottom or the third string from the bottom, and etc. So we're going to use our index finger and put it on the third string from the bottom on the second fret. Then the next finger goes on the bottom string, second fret. The third finger goes in between the two on the third fret, second string from the bottom, and that's your D chord. You can strum it with your thumb. Now I am avoiding the top 2 strings and only strumming the bottom 4 strings. And if you need a diagram to look at, one will follow this video. And let's move on to the next lesson and I'll teach you a new chord. Welcome to the wonderful world of the G chord, your next lesson in this series of 4 essential chords. So for the G, you're going to use your index finger and press on the second fret, 5th string from the bottom. Next finger is going to go up here on the top string, 3rd fret. Next one's going to go down here on the bottom string, 3rd fret. You strum all the strings for this one. This is a G chord. Now that you have 2 chords under your belt, we're going to do a little practicing back and forth between these 2 chords. So we're going to start with the G, 4 strums. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then switch to the D chord. So this may take you a few seconds. No worries. Finger here, and finger here, and then 4 strums. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go back to the G chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if you've never played before, this may be a little frustrating because you feel like it's going to take you weeks to change from one chord to another, and no worries. The more you practice, the smaller that gap will be until eventually you'll be changing chords without stopping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It all requires practice, right? You don't become a golf pro just because you go out and play one round of golf. You get out there and you swing a golf club a whole bunch of times and you hit the ball. At least that's what I've been told. I'm not a sports person, but I know that muscle memory does work that way. So following this will be a chord diagram of the G chord, and then we'll move on to the next lesson where I'll teach you another chord. Yay! Okay, welcome back. We're now going to look at a new chord. So this is going to be the C chord. Take your index finger and put it on the second string from the bottom, 1st fret. Your next finger is going to go on the 4th string from the bottom, 2nd fret, and your 3rd finger is going to stretch out to the 3rd fret on the 5th string from the bottom. So if you remember the shape, it's kind of like a diagonal. And that's your C chord. You do not play the top string. So now we're going to combine the C chord with the D chord, which I taught you in the first lesson. So we're going to do 4 strums of the C. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go to the D. And again, it's okay if it takes you a little while to get there. Here, here, and here is your D chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go back to the C. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the D chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also do the same with the G and the D. So now set yourself up some exercises. Play 2 chords that you know already of the 3 that I've taught so far, and just play them back and forth. And you will find amazing results. I've been teaching for years, and everyone who has come to me who practices and who has a good attitude learns, period. No exceptions. And so you could be one of those people. So hang on, at the end of the lesson, once again, you'll see a chord diagram for the C chord. So far, you've learned a D chord, a G, and a C chord. Now we're going to learn the 4th chord in this lesson, and that's an E minor. So an E minor is probably the most accessible chord of all the ones I've taught, because I wanted you to get the more challenging ones first. So you want to get your first finger and put it on the 5th string from the bottom, 2nd fret, and then take your 2nd finger and put right underneath it, and on the 4th string from the bottom, and there's your E minor. Play all the strings. Okay, so let's put together a little practice changing back and forth between the E minor and the G chord. I'm going to do 4 strums each. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can keep this finger in the same place, bring this finger up, and then bring this finger down here. That'll get you to the G chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. To make the change back to the E minor, you're going to take this finger, put it underneath it, lift this finger up, and then you're at the E minor. Yay! All right, so once again, you want to take 2 chords, play them back and forth, 4 strums each. Be patient with yourself. It takes some students a while to get to where you're changing chords without stopping. So like I said in that last lesson, just keep at it and you will get there. Don't forget to look for the diagram at the end of this video. Okay, so now that I've shown you what the left hand is doing, and those are the chords, I'm going to show you what the right hand is doing. Now for you left-handed players, just reverse that. We've already worked on the hand doing the chords, which would be your right hand, and then strumming will be with your left hand. So to strum, you can do it 2 ways. You can use a pick, or you can strum it with your fingers. I'm going to show you the method with the pick first. So I'm holding the pick. You can see the shape that it is. I'm holding it on the fat end with the point pointing down, and then I'm going to turn it this way and then strum. You don't have to dig in very deep, just lightly brush the strings. Or if you want, you can strum it with your bare fingers. I'll put the pick down, and you'll be strumming down with your thumb and up with your index finger. So I'll show you both ways with this strum pattern. The strum pattern you're going to be doing for all these songs that I'm teaching is down, down, up, down, down, up. So let's do that together. It's down, down, up, down, down, up, 2 times. Let me see if I can get the 2 in there. 2 times, and that's going to be 1 measure. Now, don't get too confused about this discussion of theory. You don't really have to know that much. It will make sense once we get to the songs. So let's do it with an E minor chord. Now you can't see my chording hand, but hopefully you've written down how to do an E minor. And we'll do the strum together. I'm going to use the pick this time around. Down, down, up, down, down, up. So let's do several of those in a row. Ready, and down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Excellent. So now I'm going to do it with my fingers, and remember, if you're using your fingers, you're going to strum down with your thumb and up with your index finger. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Now I'm going to take two chords and play them back and forth with that strum pattern. I'm going to start with the E minor and play down, down, up, down, down, up. And then I'm going to go to the G, down, down, up, down, down, up. So starting with that E minor, down, down, up, down, down, up, and go to the G, down, down, up, down, down, up, E minor, down, down, up, down, down, up, back to the G, down, down, up, down, down, up. Now, if you're a beginner, I may be going a little fast for you, but again, be patient and keep practicing. You will get there. Hey there! Welcome back to 4 Essential Chords for Beginning Guitarists. So if you followed me all the way up until now, you now know a D chord, a G chord, a C chord, and the wonderful, eloquent E minor. Also, I've taught you a strum pattern, down, down, up, down, down, up. And now we're going to get into playing your first song. Yay! Before we do that, I want to offer you just a couple of tips. One thing to remember, use your fingertips, all right? So if you're doing a G chord, I don't want to see this because you're going to end up with a chord that sounds like crap, all right? Pick up your fingers, have a nice curve to your fingers, and use your fingertips. Now, having said that, don't be overly concerned if you've got one string that sounds like this. That's all right. Get your fingers in the right place, ignore that one clunky string, and I promise, with practice, as you gain flexibility and strengthen your fingers, it'll sound a lot clearer. The other thing to remember is that if you're having issues with your wrist or with your hand, it's probably because you're reaching way up there to catch maybe that G chord or the E minor. So again, with practice that gets better. Eventually you want your wrist to straighten out or at least be a little more relaxed than a really bent wrist. And lastly, practice. You won't get this the first day. It's like I mentioned in one of the earlier videos, it's a little like sports, right? You find that one sport you like and you do that technique, you know, hitting a ball, whatever it is in the sport over and over again, and eventually you get there. Playing the guitar is the same way. And I have been teaching since 2000. I have taught hundreds of people how to play, and without exception, people who have a good attitude and who practice regularly get it, period. No exceptions. Now you may not end up Eric Clapton, but you may be as good as Eric Clapton's first cousin, if indeed his cousin plays the guitar. I don't know, but you get the idea, right? All right, so now let's look at the first song. Hey, where did we go? Days when the rains came down in the hollow, playing a new game. Now you're going to see me looking off to the side because I'm middle-aged and things fall out of my brain. But don't worry, I'll put the words and the chords in a caption underneath this video so you'll be able to follow along in case your memory is like mine. So, this song is great for beginners because every chord is one measure, and that's down, down, up, down, down, up. That's one measure, except for one place that I'm going to show you in a few minutes. So, here's the beginning of the song. It starts with the G. Ready, and... Hey, where did we go? Days when the rains came. Next line. Down in up, down, down, up, one time through in every chord, you should be able to. Now if it feels like I'm going lightning fast, then turn off the video and practice changing chords back and forth again. And then you can come back to the video at a later time and then try to play with me. Again, if I'm still going too fast, then just see if you can catch up with me. Sometimes changing those chords back and forth with a little bit of a push from me will help you. Now that's the first verse. The second verse is the same, different words of course, and then when we get to that last line, you're going to play the D chord 3 times. Do you remember to sing, and then it goes right into the chorus. Brown-Eyed Girl, a little slowed down. Do not try to play with the original version. Indeed, don't try to play with anybody else on YouTube because chances are they're playing it faster. And you will get there if you practice it slowly and then gradually speed it up. It will be a much smoother transition and you'll be a much better player. If you play it too fast initially and you keep making mistakes, your fingers remember those mistakes and it's a lot harder to unlearn those mistakes than if you play it correctly the first time and then gradually speed it up.